From the book of Rumi, 105 Stories and Fables. The Tree of Eternal Life. A learned man who had traveled the world over was heard telling a story about a tree in India whose fruit bestowed eternal life. The story was brought to the attention of the king, who, like most people, desired to live forever, and he instantly became obsessed with finding the tree. He ordered one of his most trusted ministers to travel to India in search of the special fruit and gave him ample funds to support his travels. Upon arrival in India, the minister began his thorough search from the southernmost point of the subcontinent to the remotest mountains in the north. He traveled from town to town and from village to village, asking every person he came across about the tree and its fruit. Most people laughed in his face, taking him for an imbecile, while others just ignored him as they would a madman. The minister spent many lonely days and nights in foreign places, only rarely coming across a friendly face. If anyone did speak to him earnestly, it was to convince him to give up his useless search, to tell him that he was wasting his precious life. Some people would tease him and give him false directions to an imaginary tree in some difficult location, making him go off his trail and wasting more of his time. Mostly, though, people just laughed at him and took him for a fool. The devoted minister, however, did not give up, pressing on with his mission tirelessly. To ensure that he did not quit, the king regularly sent him sufficient funds to support him. Years passed, and the minister turned gray and old, and he finally had to admit that he had failed. With tearful eyes, he began his journey back home after years of absence and hardship. On his way back, he decided to pay a visit to a learned sheikh whom he had heard about, hoping to receive a blessing from him. However, the minute his eyes met the sheikh's, he burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably for quite some time. Once he managed to take control of his senses, he confessed to the holy man, "Great sheikh, I've lost my way. I haven't achieved what I set out to achieve all those years ago, and now I'm returning to my master shamefaced and empty-handed. I beg of you to take pity on me and show me the right path." "What are you searching for, my good man?" asked the sheikh with compassion. "Years ago, my king sent me in search of a tree that produces a fruit that gives eternal life. I've wasted my youth searching for it, but I never found it." "All I found was sarcasm and pity," whimpered the minister. "My wise man, this tree you speak of is the tree of knowledge, which grows within the human heart," imparted the sheikh benignly. "You've been searching for what's readily apparent, and in the process, you've given up on the real meaning of life. This phenomenon is called by different names. One calls it the sea, another calls it a cloud, while another calls it a tree or even the sun, and many more names besides. Knowledge has thousands of uses, one of which is eternal life. God is one and without a rival, but he gives forth infinite signs. Think about it. A man may be your father, but he's also someone's son. What may seem like anger in the eyes of an enemy is kindness to a friend. You've been saddled with only one of his signs, namely the tree that you've been seeking. If you don't want to remain defeated, it's time for you to ignore what you see on the surface and begin to concentrate on the essence. What creates differences between men is precisely this superficiality, but once they understand what lies beneath the surface, duality vanishes." The minister felt an immense burden lifted from his shoulders. He no longer felt dejected or defeated. His heart had opened, and he knew that his passage back home would be one of joy rather than grief.